All right, we're good to go. All right, welcome to our very first episode of the SU Gang podcast. I'm Austin, and joined with me are Bobby and Mal. For some background, we all met at Syracuse University, and we all really like football, so we kept a group chat going, and we decided to give this thing a shot. So hopefully this is the first of many. Please bear with us if anything looks a little weird. This is our very first attempt at doing this. So without further ado, let's just do a little intro about ourselves. So I'm Austin. I'm a Seahawks and Bills fan, though the Seahawks are my number one team. We also, especially Bobby and Mal, like baseball. They'll get into that. I also do like basketball. I am a Warriors fan, but primarily football is our favorite sport. So that is like what we're mainly going to be talking about in this podcast. So yeah, you guys want to say who
Yeah,
your favorite teams are?
yeah, I'll go next. My name is Mel. I'm from Chicago. I'm a Cubs fan, Bears fan, and yeah, I just watched MLB in the NFL. I don't really watch any other sports outside of that, but I watch it I watch it a lot and to a level where it does get really personal for me. So I'm really excited to do this.
Um, I'm Bobby. I'm a Giants, Yankees, and Knicks fan. More so, it's like the Giants and Yankees. I really love both the teams, even though it brings a high level of stress and emotional suffering, especially the Giants. But yeah, I love watching football.
All right. Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, no, we are very passionate about football and it is one of our favorite things to do. And we've all had pain to a certain degree. But anyway, without further ado, the first thing we're going to get into is our power rankings. So if I just share the screen here. So, wait, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Sorry, I just want to make sure everything's working. All right, so going into week 17, tonight we have the Browns versus the Jets. The Browns right now are on a very hot streak. And obviously the Ravens just went into Levi and absolutely throttled them. So that has a lot of implications potentially in what was seen as a Super Bowl preview. So let's see. The main difference is, well, first of all, we have our top three teams or four teams pretty much all the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of our others are also the same. And we also put some honorable mentions at the bottom here. So I guess a main first difference I see is Bobby put the Dolphins at three. It was a team that was seen as having trouble beating winning teams, but they beat Dallas for the first time, I think, since like 2008 or something like that. So, Bobby, you put them over the Browns. Why was that?
I think they're very obviously different teams. The Browns have a crushing defense, and the Dolphins have an explosive offense. Granted, in the playoffs, you win more with defense than you do with offense. I feel like the regular season, it's all offense. You need to win. But I think right now, the Dolphins, like in a way, I feel like they've had like a groove since probably week 11 when they only put up 20 against the Raiders. I think they put up over 28 points in that since that stretch. Maybe it was 27 I think they had against the Titans. So I really like the way the Dolphins offense is playing and their defense has really I feel like they've came around in recent weeks and they've improved and compared to the Browns. Granted, I think what Joe Flacco is doing right now at 37 years old is incredible.
I
You don't
think.
really know how sustainable it is. But the Browns are a great team. Both are great teams.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Matt, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I just think that since the Browns are just one, as you said, like defense does win you more playoff games than offense. That is very true. So that's why I do have the Browns ahead of the Dolphins. But not only that, but the Browns are good simply due to the fact that despite all the BS that they've got through this year, they've been able to find ways, and that's what good teams do. Good teams find ways and they take advantage of every opportunity that they have.
Sure, that's facts. Yeah, I pretty much agree with Mal. I also think I do totally agree with both your points. I think that Joe Flacco, while performing insanely well at 38, and the fact that he's doing better than the guy they guaranteed $250 million to, who is sucks or is injured, I do think it is true his run could come to an end, but I'm confident in the Browns defense. I feel like they'll be a fifth seed and will beat up whoever the fourth seed is because the AFC South, those teams, while especially the Texans and Colts have overachieved and the Jaguars are falling, I feel like the Browns, especially with what they're doing right now, can easily beat them or whoever the fourth seed is and at least be a divisional round team. Also, I don't think Myles Garrett is at 100% yet. So I feel like when he comes back, that defense is going to be even more electric. So I think in the
Yeah,
current
he's
moment,
still playing well,
number
even
three.
not 100%.
I think they can
Yeah,
beat the Ravens, and I think they could
they could.
possibly beat the Bills
Yeah, I mean,
because
oh
they
no,
they
I think
beat
they
them
could
once
totally beat
this
the
year.
Bills. I think they could. I think they could beat the Bills, even as a Bills fan right now. I just feel like the Bills are a little too inconsistent. It's why I put them. I put them at 6. You guys seem to put them at 6 to 8. I think that's very reasonable for the Bills. And the Dolphins, like you said, I feel like elite offense. It's easier to be more like that in the regular season than the postseason. And while they did clutch up and beat the Cowboys, like at the end of the day, both those teams only got one touchdown in that Dolphins Cowboys matchup. It was all Jason Sanders. He was absolute Timothy. I mean, I know because I had him in fantasy on the bench, and he dropped like 25 points on my bench. So yeah, believe me, I know. Um, Cowboys. Mal and I both had him at 5. Bobby, you put him at 8. I feel like in your rankings, I don't know. I feel like that's also fair. But like, why do you
Uh,
think the Eagles are above the Cowboys, especially right now?
there's just I don't know. For me, with the Eagles, it's obviously the team I hate the most. So like,
Yeah,
but there's just something about that team with like they always find some bullshit. Oh, I don't know if I can curse.
don't worry
They'll
about it.
find some way to pull it. They'll find some game. They'll find like, and I've seen this so many times, and they've done so many times this year where they've been down and then they've came back and won games, which is a great quality for a team to
Hmm.
have. And plus, they also have two cupcake games the last 2 weeks of the season. But I don't know. It's just something about that team. If they get on a roll, they're kind of hard to stop. So,
That
but I
is
think 6
fair.
is fair. I mean, but I can understand why people would have them lower, especially after really struggling with playing against the Giants. And I mean, Jalen Hurts has looked off since week 12.
Yeah,
So,
That is very
totally.
true.
Yeah, I mean, you also put the Lions above the Cowboys. We'll get into predictions later, but I just think the Cowboys. I'm picking the Lions actually as an upset, but I think that the Cowboys are favored to win because they're just a really good team at home. And while the
Yeah.
Lions got a big win, they've had a lot of close games. So um, I definitely thought putting the Lions above the Cowboys was an interesting choice. But so that's why I put the Cowboys at 5. Maybe that's why Mal put them at 5 or at least above the Lions.
Yeah. Above both, to
I
be honest.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
should they should have swept Philly. They should have.
I know,
they
bro.
should have.
Yeah, that was a close one. I mean, that was when they weren't really as off, but yeah, they that was a very close game and the Cowboys
I
almost
mean,
did some stuff
if the
there.
Cowboys win that game, they would be the 2 seed right now. And I would
Yeah.
not want to go into Dallas and play them in the playoffs. As much shit as they get for being bad in the playoffs, I feel like if they were able to get the number 1 seed, I feel like there would be a high probability this year they could make a run to the Super Bowl. Granted, I think they would probably lose to whoever came out of the AFC because it's not home field, but they're it's just to come back and win against the Giants
Yeah.
and other teams.
You also got to remember San Francisco.
Oh
Like
yeah,
San Francisco has ended them the last 2 seasons in the postseason. Yes, they had a bad loss, but they seem to always bounce back. And I feel like there's a chance they're going to be pissed off and angry. And for the rest of the season, I think they'll still finish 13-4 and be the top NFC team. the NFC as a whole is just a bit weak this year. So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts. One last thought on the power rankings before we move on. We put the Rams all near 9 and 10. I think that's very fair. Uh, Buccaneer, Chiefs, I put in my honorable mentions, by the way. Mal did too, I see. The Buccaneers, I feel like's an interesting team. I think they deserve to be a top 10 team right now. Baker Mayfield seems to be playing almost like the guy that they had with Tom Brady. In fact, I think he's even better than with Brady last year, which
Statistically, he's better. Yeah.
yeah, than last year. And I frankly thought, and it's with Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is still a bad coach. I don't
Me
know
too.
if this season will save his job. Could it? Maybe, but I think they're playing elite. They're playing a lot better than people expected. I had them as one of the worst teams in the league, frankly, because Baker looked horrible in preseason. Remember all those throws he missed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Crazy.
I thought I think right now the Bucks at 8-7. I think they're better than their record is. I thought they should have
For
beat the
sure.
Colts, and they probably should have beat the Texans. So if you add those two as wins, that they're 10-5 and what gunning for the 2 or 3 seed right now. But
Yeah, for
they've been
sure.
playing. All that matters is getting hot in December, and you can carry that momentum into the playoffs. You're a dangerous team, and people
Yeah,
don't want to play
they
you.
on that
So
business. But like also the Texans won against the Bucks because like CJ Stroud is just a generational like weapon. And if they still had him, they would probably have this AFC South
oh,
under
he's insane.
control. Yeah, like it's why we have the Texans in the honorable mention. All of us do actually, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, I put the so obviously we didn't put the Seahawks in top tens, but I've seen them in a lot of top tens. And as a Seahawks fan, I'm just gonna say this, right? We got, big win against the Eagles, but at the end of the day, like the Titans game still showed that we are pretty inconsistent. I feel like our run defense was not great versus Tennessee. And while our defense did have some clutch sacks, we still have some 3-and-outs a lot, which is why we are dead last in time of possession. And the Steelers just looked red hot with Mason Rudolph. Will that continue in Seattle? I don't know. But it's why I put them a bit above the Seahawks right now because they seem to get a pretty convincing win. So that again, that's just recency bias right there. And also, Seattle and I believe Steelers are tied 10-10 in their last matchups. So Sunday, that game is going to be very, very interesting. And I am very nervous, frankly, for that game.
Yeah.
I think the Seahawks got it. But we'll get into
You're
that
more
later.
confident.
I think
You're
it's
more
going to be a
confident
little.
than I am. It's going to be a very close game. I think that it's going to be a fucking fight.
I think it's
All
going
right.
to be closer, like around the 20-16 range.
Yeah. I don't think Seattle's dropping more than like 27 points. That's my prediction. I just hope TJ Watt doesn't make Geno Smith's night. Like last time we played them, Geno Smith, it was one of his first games in on that 7-10 season, and TJ Watt got a critical strip sack that just set him up in overtime for that win. And yeah, so I just hope TJ Watt doesn't make a game defining play again because we know he can. He leads the league in sacks, so that's that. And then
Yeah.
Chiefs we'll talk about later, but it makes sense why they're kind of the 9 and 10s. They are not doing well right now. All right. So next up, let's just go through some more recent NFL news. So the Broncos have benched Russell Wilson. What are our thoughts on all this?
I
Um,
understand that, like, it's for, business reasons. But yes, they lost the Chiefs really embarrassing, and they're literally about to make the playoffs. So it's really stupid that they would, you lose that type of game that they did. But they're still 7-8. They're still in the hunt. They still have a shot, even if it feels like it's over. They still have a shot. They should not give up yet. and I'm not a big fan of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the way I was watching that game, and I think what Sean Payton did, in theory, yeah, using the timeouts was smart because he wanted to, hey, maybe we'll get the ball back, maybe we can drive down the field and use that Denver air to propel us for a long field goal for the win. But I didn't like that move. I feel like with this benching of Russell Wilson, I think, like Mal said, you're gonna lose the lock. I feel like a lot of players have probably checked out on the season. They're probably going to be eliminated this week. So it's unfortunate
Yeah.
because Russell Wilson has had such a great career. And if it ends like this would be a really bad way for it.
Uh, yeah. So my thoughts basically on it are I understand where Denver's coming from in one dimension. I do think it's stupid that they gave up when they had a potential playoff chance, but I think after that Patriots game, that was where the decision came from because like this decision has come because Russ gets 37 million more guaranteed than the 39 million he's going to make next season if he fails his physical. And it's pretty obvious. We've seen Sean Payton scream at Russ, like just all this. I think it's mainly just a chemistry thing. Russ has not been bad this year. He actually had like over 230 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Like he's actually played a lot more clean and he's getting better at passing the ball, not just having like 100 yards, 1 touchdown games. And he's even starting to use his legs more. I think he's still a capable quarterback that can play in the NFL, but it's just really unfortunate to see them do this. But I think at the end of the day, like Denver was never a fit for him. If it wasn't going to work with Sean, the Broncos traded for Sean Payton, hoping that he would be a future coach beyond this all-in push of trying to become a new team. So like I already figured they were going to be ready if the Russ experiment still failed to move on from him and keep Sean. And I think it just shows here. So this Patriots loss, they're just going to see what they got in Jared Stidham. It's probably why they paid him so much. It looks stupid, but now they're gonna see what they got in him. And like honestly, I think it's just the best both guys part. Like I don't think Russ is a bad quarterback. I think there's a lot of teams like the Falcons, Raiders, all of them could fit. But yeah, he just I just think it was a relationship that was never meant to work out.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, and like they don't want Russ to get injured to fail that physical because they're trying to get out of his contract.
So what if he failed the physical, he would get 76 million
I think so, yeah.
next year. Is
Yeah,
it something like that?
I think so,
That's
yes.
insane.
I think so, yeah.
Did the
Um,
Broncos did the Broncos give him a contract when he got traded?
oh yeah, yeah, they gave him like a 5 year
Because
extension. They thought he was going to be long term. Like even though he's not playing bad, he is not worth the guy they thought they would get. You know what I mean? Like if you look up the contract, they went all in on my man. So
yeah,
he was already
I
kind
thought
of a
they
big
were gonna
in
get
cap
like
infringement.
2018, 2019.
2019, 2020 Russ was like so vintage. Yeah, they wanted that guy and like frankly in the season where they sucked like the first year there, he looked like he gained some weight and lost some of his attributes like mobility, which really compensated for his lack of seeing the pocket because believe me, as a Seahawks fan and a Russ lover, I have seen that as a weakness from him. And while he got better at it, it was like, especially when you're less mobile at an age where, you're going to get slower, that's going to, your flaw of not being able to see the middle of the field because of your height is going to just be more noticeable. So it's just that kind of iffy issue. But I think that I feel like if he was in the Brown system, the Raiders, the Falcons, he could still be a capable quarterback. So there's my spiel on
I
Russ.
wonder what that contract would be if you.
Yeah, I don't know,
What
man.
would
I
that
mean,
contract be like? Would it be like
Oh, people have been saying they could
Because
re-sign him on
his
Seattle for a cheaper deal. I think he'd be willing to take a pay cut, honestly, to play again. Like, like,
yeah, but how
like
like what would it be? Because like a
maybe a
two
1 to 2
year.
year. I could see Russ being a bridge QB, honestly. Like going forward, like if Joe Flacco flames out and they get eliminated in the divisional round, I would honestly like the Browns to take him. I don't know if that's popular or not, but I think that could actually be pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
no, it definitely
again,
would.
you will have to deal with the Sean Cosby still on your team. And
I hate that guy.
I think yeah, I used to love him, man, but it
Me
just
too.
God, yeah, he's
He's
washed. But
killing
like
it.
and Russ will still be a decent amount of money. So the only reason I don't think they take that is because of money issues, or maybe they just like what they got in, their QB chain. Because to be fair, their QB carousel has actually not been terrible. Like DTR, he had his moment before he flamed out a bit. Oh, boom, let's get Joe Flacco off the couch. And he's throwing dimes because he played against Troy Polamalu. So these new safeties are nothing to him.
Went up
Yeah,
in
that's true.
practice against he practiced against Ed Reed and Ray Lewis.
Yeah, exactly. Back when that
Dodge.
generation would hit you hard, man. Like it's crazy. Like that's the thing I respect about Tom Brady. He has gotten hit so damn hard, and it was back when today would be easily roughing the passer, and that wouldn't get called. So like I respect that he would always like those guys are resilient because they are in
Hmm.
that era. But anyway, um, next up, Jaire Alexander got benched. Jaire Alexander benched for this game, or he's suspended. That's the correct wording. Suspended
Wait,
for this
who's
Vikings
it? Did the
game.
league suspend him?
No, the Packers. The Packers themselves suspended
It
him.
was.
And
Why would they
there
suspend
is
him? That's
so
It's stupid.
Mal knows this more than me, so I'll let him take over. But from what I heard, it's the coin in the coin toss in OT. He almost screwed it up, and they called it violating team conduct. So the Packers suspended him for a game. People are saying on one side, oh, this is really dumb because he is one of your best players. You need him against one of the best
Hmm.
receivers who will be
and one of
playing.
your biggest rivals,
Exactly.
and
And the other side
and for your
is, oh, he
season
made a
too.
big mistake and he's not doing as well right now. So I don't know, Mal, is there any like I feel like you dug into this more than me because this is funny to you because you are a Bears fan and
No, I didn't dug into it that much, but like, well, I mean, I have seen Packers fans say like that he hasn't been that good this year anyway. So there, some of them were like, what difference does it even make? Especially since Joe Barry is coordinating that defense. Now, I know I have no room to talk because they own us, and I do respect them. Although they've given me pain, but I just I think it's stupid. But Alexander, in a press conference, he said that he wants his defense to be out there, and they all looked at him like he was crazy. And he said afterward, he's like, "I'm like, I mean, it's pretty simple what I said. Like, I want the defense to be out there." They're like, "You mean defer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." So I guess he basically wanted to be out there both times to start each half. And I mean, I don't know. I really think it's stupid. I really like. I mean, one, he needs to know that that's dumb. You want your offense to start off with the ball at least in a certain half. You don't want to start off with the defense twice because then you just give the opposing offense more momentum. But I just first of all I think the Packers were being very harsh. This is an important game for the Green Bay Packers. They should not have benched Jaire Alexander. If whether you think he's good or not, this specific year you need him for this game, especially now that JJ is back for Minnesota. And they still got Jordan Addison
Yep.
and TJ Hawkinson is out, but they've still got JJ Addison, Powell. They've still got guys, man, and KJ Osborne as well. So I really don't think it was a smart idea for them to be benching. I mean, for them to suspend Jair.
For sure. Yeah. I think for yes, Jaire's been a little washed lately. He didn't do well against the Panthers, but like at the end of the day, this is Justin Jefferson. He locked up Justin Jefferson last time. Like, or the rematch, sorry, the second divisional matchup versus them last season. He locked him up. So like I just don't. Also, your team is pushing for a playoff spot right now. You are currently out of it. You're trying to hope Seattle loses. You want Pittsburgh to beat them. Like, you are trying to get into the playoffs and you still have a realistic shot. I'm just like, my question is just why now? Like, I don't know why the Packers decided to do this. This wasn't even a week suspension. Maybe it was costly to the overtime stuff, but like,
They also have the
yeah.
tiebreaker with the Rams. So I think if they win,
Oh, they have the tiebreaker with the Rams?
yeah, because I think
They
they
win
beat
and the
them.
Rams lose, they're in.
Yeah, if they win
Oh, shoot.
the Rams are probably going to beat us this week, so that puts them at 9-7. The 49ers have
Yeah,
everything to
the
play
Rams
for
are on a
next week.
roll, bro. There's a reason I have them as like the ninth best or 10th best team right now, but
No,
it is what
yeah,
it is for sure.
they're going to
Okay.
smoke us.
Also, we have some new QBs starting this week. We got, especially in the NFC East, we got the Commies starting Jacoby Brissett. We got the Giants starting Tyrod Taylor. And we got the Vikings just breaking today that they're starting rookie Jaron Hall, which I remember Mal saying they should have given this guy a chance. So you happy they're finally giving him a chance
Yeah, absolutely.
in this
Like,
game?
dude,
Yeah,
this is what I think about the Vikings. They every time they draft the QB that's not in the first round, they don't give them a shot. Like ever. If their quarterback's injured, if the game is meaningless, they don't give a damn to ever try to let the guys have snaps. They did it
for
years ago
sure.
when they drafted Kellen Mond, Texas A&M legend. Like, that's what pisses me off about them. They don't give their young quarterbacks a try. Just any attempts to just see what they can prove out there. And then you wonder why they're bouncing around from practice squad to practice squad. Vikings, they never give their people a chance. Like, so it's
Yeah,
good that they
yeah.
finally are doing it because I feel like
Okay.
Jaron Hall has more talent than Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I hate to interrupt you guys, but this Zoom thing's about to expire, so we're gonna do another one. I'm gonna invite you. We're gonna pick up right where you left off. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.